A robbery, homeless camp sweep, and curfew talk, plus textile recycling in Barnstable on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, November 20th, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Chief Paul McDonald says Barnstable police are searching for a man who robbed a customer Monday at the Bank of America branch on Barnstable Road.
An individual came into the bank. He attempted to cash a check. The teller told him the check was no good. He then turned and went to leave the bank. As he was leaving the bank, there was another bank customer, preparing a deposit. He was at the table, and he was counting out a fairly large sum of money and preparing to fill out the deposit slip to deposit the money. As the other individual walked past him, he grabbed the money and he ran out the door, got in the car, and fled in a motor vehicle.
Chief McDonald says the suspect is still at large.
He has not been captured. We identified the individual as a Mr. Derek DeGrace. We have an active warrant for him. We do know where he lives, and I do know the surveillance teams, they have been out there all night long waiting for him to come back, but he has not arrived yet. And right now we're still waiting. He will be picked up shortly, though.
McDonald calls this particular robbery crime of opportunity.
They cashed a check, got turned down. He turned, and he could never plan this. As he walked by another customer, the other customer just happened to be in plain sight, counting out a large sum of money. Was something obviously you do not want to do that. You're broadcasting to the whole world what you're doing, how much money is there, and it was easy pickings. The gentleman just walked up behind him, grabbed the money, and fled on foot. And a waiting car picked him up, and he was gone.
The robbery remains under investigation. The chief hopes to soon have that suspect in custody. Meanwhile, Barnstable police are gearing up for what's become an annual sweep of the woods to eliminate homeless camps. A fire that destroyed the press box at Lopes Field in Hyannis last week was allegedly started by 3 teens who were living in the woods nearby. They sought shelter in that press box. Chief McDonald talks about the effort to sweep the camps.
At least once a year we go out and we take these camps down. 2 weekends ago we had a team of officers go out and they covered all the wooded areas south of South Street and down off Old Yarmouth Road. We identified 17 individual camps. Half the camps appear to be active, half of them appear to be inactive. We do believe the same groups are responsible for both camps, as they live in a certain area for an X period of time, days, weeks, months, and once it gets to a point where it becomes unlivable, they move off and they set up another camp. This past weekend, we went back out again because we're trying to forewarn everybody that we are coming. This is what we plan on doing. And apparently the word is getting out there because the camps that we believe were active 2 weeks ago now appear to be inactive. So they are picking up their belongings and moving on. The plan is a week from today, next Tuesday, we are going to go out with the Sheriff's Department, the DPW, and coordinate the cleanup and get it all done in one day.
Chief McDonald says police are concerned about the health and safety of those living in the woods.
It's really a deplorable condition, and to allow this to happen is really inhumane. I know we've been criticized in the past, but really to allow this to continue is what really is inhumane. But all the social services, they know what our plans are. We've talked to shelter. They know what our plans are. We are certainly going to encourage any individual that we come across out in these camps to seek the proper treatment they might need from whatever social service agency and direct them to the shelter if they have to stay if they have to stay someplace or emergency situation for the night. But to stay out in these camps in the middle of winter is not going to cut it.
The sweep will take place within the next few weeks. Meanwhile, the busy holiday shopping season kicks off this Friday. Many stores are choosing to open at midnight on Friday morning. Here in Barnstable, we've got a business curfew that dictates businesses must be closed between 1 and 3 a.m. Chief McDonald explains how those who want to open on Black Friday at midnight get around those regulations.
You have a special ordinance within the town. All businesses closed between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning. It's been in effect for the past several years, and it was specifically designed to deal with a particular problem they were having back then. That problem has since been eradicated, and it's going very, very well. But the town, and certainly the police department, we don't want to come across being anti-business. We understand what a big day this is. So anyone who does want to open at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, they can make that a written request for a date and time specific when they want to open, and we are looking at them at a case-by-case scenario, and then we are usually, for the most part, granting them. That ordinance was put in for a specific problem, but we do not want to be anti-business, so we are trying to work with everybody.
Despite a decline in criminal activity, Chief McDonald says it's not likely that ordinance will be lifted anytime soon.
We hate to go back and recreate that problem. It was designed for a very specific problem that was really getting out of hand, and since we enacted that ordinance, I believe almost every other town surrounding Barnstable, no Yarmouth, no Dennis has. I don't know if Mashpee did, but a lot of the other towns have adopted the exact same ordinance, because if you had an establishment that was open after the bars, everyone in Southeast Mass would congregate at that one location. And I don't know if you remember now, but we had multiple shootings and stabbings. It was not a good scene. And this ordinance really eradicated that problem. So really go back and look at it, eliminate it? Probably not.
Other Cape towns have chosen to adopt a similar late-night curfew. The Barnstable Renewable Energy Commission has been talking textiles for the past few months, specifically how Barnstable can increase its textile recycling. Many of us donate clothes and shoes to places like the Salvation Army and other charitable organizations, but the question lies in how to properly recycle clothing that might not be suitable for wear. The commission heard a presentation from Paul Curry of Bay State Textile.
I'm just going to touch on the study that was done in 2011 by the Mass DEP. It was a pretty comprehensive study. They took several regions, in the state. They brought all the trash to landfills and some of the incinerators, and they basically broke everything down. They made grades of trash, and they found out that 6% of our solid waste is textiles. And what that means, it's everything from bed sheets to socks to curtains to work boots. Just to give you a number, 520 million pounds of textiles are ending up in the landfills or the incinerator. That's just in Massachusetts every year.
What was that figure again?
520 million pounds. I always revert to pounds when I'm doing a presentation, because a lot of people, tons. Well, what is a ton?
What is a ton?
Ton is 2,000 pounds. Okay. But 520 million pounds kind of blows your mind a bit. It's clothing. So every resident, every American supposedly discards 70 pounds of textiles every year. 15% of it's being reclaimed by your Goodwills, your Salvation Armies, your Bay State Textiles, but 85% is ending up in the landfill. So I've been going around with the Mass DEP, Goodwill, and some, who else was the speaker? Smart. Smart's a national organization made up of companies like mine, and they go out and they promote textile recycling. And back in the spring, we came down to the Cape, we did the workshop, and spoke to several municipalities on the Cape. So, I was talking to a bunch of municipalities today up at Swana, and I told them, I said, look, I'm spoiled on the Cape. I'm spoiled on the South Shore. They have recycling centers. I love recycling centers. I don't like curbside. So the reason being is that when you go to a recycling center, people recycle. Curbside, I'm up in Quincy, I'm in Weymouth. They have curbside pickup, so it's a challenge. So back in April, I met with Weymouth School Department, Weymouth DPW, Mass DEP, and Capital Waste. That's their contractor. And we put a program together. I put a small donation box at each school. Each school is generating $100 a ton for all the textiles that they collect. In 4 weeks, the school district collected 33,000 pounds in Weymouth alone. So there are programs. I tailor all my programs based on the needs of the municipality.
You can view Curry's entire presentation online as part of Monday's Renewable Energy Commission meeting. Just head to town.barnstable.ma.us and click on Video on Demand. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.